Hi there, how are you doing today?
Good. So how many people do we have?
Us two.
Okay, so be 30 minus your coupon.
Yep.
Show the camera. Okay.
Perfect.
So be 28 on
All right, so we just went through the entrance gate for Pikes Peak, pretty nice, and it took us about half an hour from where our RV is at the shop to get to the front gate, but now it's going to take us about 45 minutes to get up the mountain. In Colorado Springs, I think, or no, Manitou Springs, you're at around 6,400 feet up, and we actually just passed a sign that said over 8,000 feet, so I guess we'll see how high we get once we're to the top. All right, so we've been in Colorado Springs for a little while now at the RV repair shop. Many of you know that. And one of the things that we knew we had to see while we were here was Pikes Peak. And today we finally got the opportunity. We actually just passed through the entrance area here. What was it?
It's $15 per person, but if you go to the Pikes Peak website, they generally have coupons, so we did get $2 off.
So $28 for us to get in today. But
McNally was free, and he got a couple of treats. He
did get a couple of treats. The lady at the gate actually asked us, hey, can I give your dog a treat? We were like, absolutely you can. So anyway, we cruised through, and we actually ended up stopping about 2 miles after the entrance because we've read a lot about people getting altitude sickness when they come up here.
Yeah, we've been staying around 7,000 elevation, and this is going all the way up to 14,000. So even though we've only driven like 30 minutes maybe so far, we've had quite a bit of water to help. And yeah, so we already had to take our first potty break. And I'm definitely kind of feeling the queasiness already, so I'm hoping that'll yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Help bat it down a little bit. And if you guys are making the trip up here, you should definitely drink quite a bit of water before you come up here. That's supposed to help negate the altitude sickness, even though you still may.
And you normally want to like slowly make your way up to higher elevations. That helps. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, anyway, that's that. But we're going to actually take the 19-mile highway up to the top and yeah, see how it goes.
McNally, I didn't realize how big you got.
McNally? Yep, like the
Rand McNally map.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
All right, so we made it about 3 more miles up the road, and then we decided to swing off here at the Crystal Reservoir gift shop.
They have a lot of like sweatshirts and like Pikes Peak kind of like memorabilia souvenir stuff, but they also have some snacks, and they sell some like, you know, blankets. I hear it gets pretty cold at the top of Pikes Peak. I did bring my sweater. I think you forgot yours.
I forgot mine.
Which sucks. But they do sell blankets and sweaters and stuff like that inside. But
it's also really cool because like we're only 5 miles up and the views are already
Yeah.
absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
The reservoir here, you can walk around it and things like that, but the water is actually for city drinking and stuff like that, so you're not allowed to let your dogs in it or go in it yourself. But really cool stop on the way.
Yep.
I
Oh,
guess.
there are restrooms in there too, so if you needed to go potty, you can go in there.
Restrooms are important.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna keep cruising. So as you can see, that was the historic Glen Cove Inn. Don't really know much history on it, but it's cited on the sign. So we are in the clouds. It's crazy. You know, it's kind of eye-opening, because when we were in Georgia, we had a great time while we were there, and we went to a ton of different mountains and high areas, and it was absolutely stunning. But
Commercial break. Interrupt your conversation for a beautiful view. It looks like we're in a freaking airplane.
it does.
Oh my goodness, and there was no rail. There it is.
All right, so we got up here to Pikes Peak, and it was a crazy drive up here. Like the videos that we got probably didn't do it justice, but it was amazing.
It's like you're driving in the clouds or like you're in an airplane.
Yeah, it's insane. Like really, it feels like you're looking out the window of an airplane.
Yeah, I had a little mini panic attack because it's pretty steep and there's some areas where there's no railing, so I definitely had to not look out the window for a minute. So just FYI, if you got a heights issue. I didn't even think I had one until recently, and then I'm realizing I might be afraid of heights.
And definitely drink a lot of water too. Like I started getting just a little light of breath on the way up here and things like that. So just water up, keep hydrated.
We gave McNally a lot of water. He seemed like he maybe wasn't feeling so good, but he drank a lot of water, and he's doing great here. He's just running around. I actually am surprised that I didn't really, aside from when we first drove in, I didn't really feel anything else. So,
and it's crazy too. The temperature drop. A lot of people talk about that, and it dropped from about 79 degrees to like 53 degrees once we got to the top. So there is
definitely
quite a bit
bring
of
your hoodie.
Yeah, hoodie
or a blanket
or beanie or something.
Or buy
just,
one from their shop, I guess.
Yeah.
Luckily, I did remember his.
Yeah, she did.
I knew I put it on the sofa. I was like, I know I put it there.
Yeah, so lucky for me, it was in the back seat. But anyway, we're going to cruise around here up at the summit, see kind of the views all the way around, and then probably check out the little restaurant over there. We made it to the summit.
You did it.
McNally, look, you're 13 weeks old and you've been as high as we have in our entire life.
Okay, so when it comes to Pikes Peak, you can hike up here, you can drive up here, you can also take the Cog Railway. That is more expensive, and I don't believe it's dog friendly, which is one of the reasons we decided to drive. But I'm sure you see some pretty crazy views on it. I know it's also some kind of like time limit, like they come every so often, so that's something to think about. Rather than when you drive up here, you can spend as much time as you want. But I'm glad we drove, but that is definitely an option.
Yeah, this one's a little over 4 months. Ooh, making friends? Right. Come on, Dukes. Come on, Dukes. Oh, you know friends.
Alright, we've been walking around the summit for a little while now, and one thing we had first heard of through Less Junk, More Journeys video when they came up here was the world famous donuts here at the summit of Pikes Peak. In their video, it didn't seem like they were the best donuts, but as we walked by, they smelled pretty amazing, so I figured I gotta give it a try for myself. Alright, so I went inside and I just followed my nose and I found the donuts. I went ahead and bought one. It's exactly how they said it was. It's like a powdered sugar donut with no powdered sugar. So my hopes aren't very high because it seems pretty plain. But
you normally like them covered in chocolate.
Yeah, I normally like them covered in chocolate. So we'll see what happens. You know, missing the powdered sugar, it definitely still has a really sweet taste. It's not very doughy. It's not bad. World famous, not sure, but not bad.
What else did they have in there?
So when I went in there, it also looked like they had hamburgers, coffee, and a couple other items on the menu. I didn't really look too closely because, like I said, I was following my nose. All right, so we pulled over on a little side spot here on the side of the road as we were coming down from the summit at Pikes Peak, and there was a nice little walkway. We cruised off, and it was pretty rocky, pretty awesome, but we ran into actually a little critter, and it kept making these noises. Kind of seemed like it was protecting its home a little bit. Not entirely certain what it is or what it was actually doing, but we decided, you know, when it started making weird little noise that we would just back off and take off from there. And as we were coming back, it actually started snowing. At first we thought it was hail because it was like round little balls, but once we caught a couple, they were really soft like snow. So maybe it was a mix between hail and snow, I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna keep cruising down. So it was actually a yellow-bellied marmot is what we saw up there in its little cave.
So another thing that's pretty good about driving up here versus taking the railway is that there's a lot of pull-off points, so you can actually park and get out and take some photos or start walking and hiking along the rocks. It is pretty steep.
It is pretty steep, but there are a lot of areas where you can just get off and kind of traverse the unknown. But it's pretty awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's just another perk of maybe driving up here instead.
All right, so we're cruising down from Pikes Peak, and on the way down here, if you remember the historic inn that we passed, at the same place, they have a mandatory brake check. I'm not sure how thorough it is, but we're a couple cars behind, so we'll see in a couple minutes. All right, so we just passed the mandatory braking inspection area, and what they actually do is they take a thermometer and they put it down towards your brakes, and if they're over 300 degrees, they request you pull over to the side for about 10 to 20 minutes just to let them cool down before you continue going down the mountain. I think ours was about 340, so they requested we pull over, which is kind of expected. Last week when we were coming back from Montrose to the RV, I didn't feel like the brakes were quite working the way that I wanted them to, so we planned on getting them changed out here soon. So this is just more of indication that we're going to get that done right away. But we're going to hang out here for a couple minutes and then cruise down the mountain. All right, so I just did something that I have never done before, and that is when I was backing up from letting our brakes cool off, I backed into someone else's vehicle. Luckily, no one was hurt. It wasn't too crazy. But what had happened was we had pulled into a parking spot to let our brakes cool down. And in the meantime, a vehicle had pulled up behind us on the shoulder of the road. And I saw them pull forward and pull back and pull forward again. And the last time they pulled forward, I thought they left. Obviously not. But in the meantime, a motorcycle had pulled up to the right of us pretty close. So as I was backing up, I was looking in the rearview mirror and looking at oncoming traffic to make sure no one was coming. And that's when I backed into them. It was my back left fender hit their back right fender. And like I said, no one was hurt, and the damage isn't too bad. It was mainly our white paint scraped off on their black car. So it's a major bummer, but we're gonna make the best of the rest of the day. We had a great day up at the top of Pikes Peak, and it was really cold. So we got the idea to make some awesome chili tonight. So we're gonna go home and eat the awesome chili that we make. But if you do find yourself in Colorado Springs or the surrounding area, you should most certainly visit Pikes Peak. It was absolutely stunning. We loved it. But if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. Thank you much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys again soon.